Hello, everyone. This is Naim, wedding celebrant in Paris, and welcome to the French Wedding Show, where it is my job to introduce to you some of the best wedding vendors in Paris and in France. In this episode, we're going to talk about a question that I hear a lot as well from my couples, and this is a very simple question when you don't know Paris. It's where to elope in Paris exactly. So obviously everybody wants to go to Paris for an elopement, but then you want to know more about the city and what to do, where to exactly have your elopement ceremony. And this is what it's all about today. So first of all, it's going to be 12. There's a blog article that I wrote as well, but I wanted to also create some audio for you guys because I know that this is more easy to consume sometime. So we're going to talk about 12 locations, but obviously there is plenty of others. But this is a little bit like my top 12 places that I like, and that gives a lot of great pictures, great videos, great vibes as well. Every time we use them with all the vendors in Paris. So these places are located mostly in near the River Seine. You have the Eiffel Tower, obviously, also a little bit of Notre Dame, but I'll go deeper into that in a very short moment. So first of all, before going through this, how to choose the best place to elope in Paris, you have to be you have to listen to your inner vision. That's my first advice. And go with the flow as well. When you see the pictures, when you get a vibe of the exact location, could be the Eiffel Tower once again, could be the Louvre Museum, and plenty of others, you will get a vibe directly when you see pictures or videos or photos of other couples' ceremony. You can find that on my website, but you can also find that on many other websites of very talented vendors, photographers, officiants, videographers, etc. They're gonna show you many places. So when you're in Paris, when you come to Paris, it's a whole different story. Like I said, you can feel the vibe, especially when you're not from here. This is also one of the reasons that I really like about my job, is that I'm getting to know American people, Australian people, Asian people who always had this image about Paris that exists in the, let's call it the unconscious, the subconscious of the universe. I like to call it that way rather than just cliche, but it's also true. When you're a tourist, you always get the magical vibes, and the Eiffel Tower always resonates different when you're not from here. We Parisians are kind of used to it, so this is kind of different way and different vibes. But it's also lovely when you come to Paris for your elopement. You're here for a special reason, and it seems like the universe conspires to make this happen. So it's part of the game. So when you see the pictures, when you Google it, when you go through the website doing your research, just get a vibe of every place and start to notice your reactions and let your mind wander. Oh, I see myself there, or no, this is way too serious, or I don't like this architecture, etc., etc., etc. So that was my first advice, to choose the best place to elope for your elopement in Paris. What else can I say? You have the Eiffel Tower. Obviously, everybody wants to be in the Eiffel Tower. The first one is the Porte de Billy. So this area is located very near the Eiffel Tower on the other side of the river, near the Trocadero. All these places are, obviously, you can see them on my website. So this place, I'm going to start to describe it. The first one, it's a beautiful area near the quay, directly on the River Seine. So you go downstairs, you take some stairs. Can be challenging sometimes if you have some shoes, but but we always find a way to make it happen. So this is not a problem. If you have high heels, you can take them off for a second and bring them back for the ceremony and for the pictures, of course. It's a very popular place in Paris, mostly because of the amazing views that you can get from the Eiffel Tower. And I really see this many times. A lot of the times when we have an elopement ceremony, the couple knows that they're going to the Eiffel Tower, but when they're just out of the car um, with the driver, the window opened, the door opened, and suddenly they see it again, and it's always a smile and very smiley face, sun on their heads, and yeah, they're like, oh wow, this is it. Like it's bigger than I thought. But yeah, this place is very very nice. Medium long views to the tower. Let's say not too close, not too far. And like I always say, with this location, you can hear the water flow and the boats passing by right behind you. This also gives a very special touch to this place, and it makes me one of my favorite. So I would say top 3 of my top 12. So the other place is also located in the Eiffel Tower. This time it's a bit further. It's called the Trocadero. It's big square, let's call it like that. A very famous and traditional landmark in Paris. Celebrated many ceremonies there. Once again, as every time when you have a public ceremony, it's always better to be early. The whole Paris industry will tell you that. It's super important to come early to get the best pictures, but also to avoid the crowd of, let's call it, millions of people coming around, showing up at 8 a.m., 9 a.m. in the morning. So it's always better to be early to have empty places and beautiful pictures. So Trocadero, it's also near the Eiffel Tower, like I said, further. It's near a fountain as well, called the Fountain of Warsaw. A long basin with 12 fountains creating columns of water of 12 meters high. So in the winter, it's not open up until late. So you don't have the water columns of water showing off, but it's not a big deal because of the amazing view. The amazing view is balanced. You can see the Eiffel Tower a bit further, like I said. It's great to have an intimate ceremony here if you plan to have some guests. Sometimes the elopement ceremony are not only two people, you also have your friends or loved ones or witnesses. I remember a couple from California doing a ceremony with 12 people there, and it was great because it's big enough. So great memories about that. It's usually empty when the sun rises, but in the summer it can be very popular. That's why I always show up sometimes before the ceremony starts, so I can kind of block the spot. Because unlike the other spots where you can play around and go a bit further, this one is a unique spot. So once again, you can see all of this on the blog article and some nice pictures as well. Then we move around to the Bir Hakeim Bridge and the statue La France Renaissante. It's a bridge located, let's say, 5 to 8 minute drive of the Eiffel Tower. A bit less, actually, probably no more than 5 minutes in the morning. So it's a bridge. It's located about 5 minutes from the previous places. Therefore, it's further from the Eiffel Tower. So you have like long views of the Eiffel Tower. You can see it from far, but nonetheless, it gives amazing views of the tower. And the ceremony spot is located near a beautiful statue called La France Renaissante. It's called, the translation is the Born Again France. Let's do this broken English translation for me. I really like this spot as well. because it gives some distance to the couple. Everybody wants to be near the Eiffel Tower, but it's not mandatory. I really, really like this place because of a small, can be weird detail. When the ceremony starts, you can hear actually the subway who passes just nearby. And instead of doing this industrial tacky move about, like, oh no, we're disturbed by the subway. Actually, I found out that this adds up to the Paris vibes, believe it or not. And it's also a super location if you plan to have a musician with you during the ceremony. I often worked with great musicians, violinists, and ukulele players, to not name them. They will recognize themselves. And yeah, gives great photos as well. Then you have another place that I always categorize into the Eiffel Tower because it's so popular. It's Avenue de Camoin. So this place has become one of the world's most famous spot thanks to Instagrammers and TikTokers. I have to say it's one of the most special place to go when you think of eloping to Paris. It's actually kind of hidden. It's a hidden gem, not obvious. And you have to take some stairs, beautiful architecture. And yeah, like I was saying, with Instagrammers and TikTokers, it became super popular because of the actually great views of the streets and the Eiffel Tower. It gives a Paris vibes much more because of stupid details, but actually who makes it the 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 streets and the lights, the street lights and the stairs give them a super very classy vibes, and it's always amazing to have this place. Now we're kind of done with the Eiffel Tower. Now talking about Notre Dame, the famous cathedral I've talked about in a recent episode. You have Notre Dame and the Quai de Montebello. It's the perfect one, actually, if you want to have Notre Dame vibes, because, as I said in another article and episode, when you want to get married in Notre Dame, it's the best spot. Quai de Montebello is the best spot now because of the fire and problems that we had in Paris with Notre Dame fire. It's now being refurbished and renovated. So it's not the best views when you're going in the classical spots near Notre Dame. It's always better to take the Quai de Montebello because you're a bit further and it's more part of the landscape in the background, Notre Dame. So it's located once again near the Seine, near the water. The background is amazing because on top of Notre Dame, you also have old buildings of the old Paris. When you will see the pictures on the blog article that I will put the link on in the show notes, you will understand the special vibes that you can get from this place. But it's not the only one. Actually, there's plenty of other bridges in Paris who gives great views of Notre Dame. So you don't have, once again, to be very near the place. One of the special one I had, it's actually the one that I did this summer. We were working around Paris because the public square, the park that we had to go to, first of all, with our couples, actually was closed without notice. For like one day before, they decided to close for an unknown reason. So we started to walk around with the photographers and the videographers and the couple. And the couple was very open and they were walking around in the summer, super chilling vibes and super happy to have an unexpected event that day. It was not a big problem. So we walked around, and after around 15 minutes, we came to the River Seine, and the bride, she saw Notre Dame from the Louis Philippe Bridge. You can Google this place, it's amazing. And we decided to do it in the middle of the bridge. She proposed that, and everybody was happy with that, the groom as well. And the pictures looked amazing. So she said, "This looks great." So we decided to settle here for truly unique, intimate spots. It was my first time on this one, but this is where I realized you can be very flexible with the location because every place looks great. And you can actually never be disappointed unless you really want to. So you have the another spot, the Tuileries Gardens. It's located near the Louvre. I really love public gardens. There, especially this one is big. It's a classic spot in Paris. Multiple spots available there, but there is a long alley surrounded by trees on the right hand side of the park when you face the south entrance. Makes this place truly magic, and many couples tell me, "Oh, this is the place that we were dreaming to elope in Paris." The sandy ground can be challenging sometimes, depending on the weather, but the background, the trees, it's amazing. This is a very good place also to have guests, just like Trocadero, but it's put more like garden vibes and trees, just because the way pictures look like it's I prefer it. It's open from very early in the morning, and it's usually empty in the wee hours of the morning. So truly a special place, and once again, one of my favorite spots to elope in Paris. Then you have in the same area, in the Louvre area, which is the biggest museum in the world, and there is the Joconde inside. Also, there is a place called the Arc de Triomphe du Carrousel. If you don't speak French, don't worry. Not necessary to translate these words. it's a it's a big landmark located between the Jardin des Tuileries, so the Tuileries Gardens, and the Louvre Museum Pyramid. I also love it because it's a not so common place to elope, and this is probably not the first place that will pop up in your mind when you think about eloping to Paris, but it can be very special and unique if you look for beautiful monuments in the middle of a bunch of trees and a historical museum. I also like the emptiness in the background with the Louvre Museum on the outside and the romantic alleys full of Renaissance paintings. And yeah, it's an old, very old, 200 years old actually, monument who was built in honor of Napoleon military victories. And the fact that it's halfway between the Tuileries Garden and the Louvre Museum, and also the historic vibe and the architecture of the carousel, makes it truly romantic and definitely worth a tout for an elopement ID. So check it out on the website. Then we're going to the Luxembourg Garden, which is located in the 5th arrondissement, and the one of the classics as well, Medici Fontaine. The Luxembourg Garden is one of the most iconic garden you can find in Paris. And it was built in the 17th century, actually, for Marie de Medici, who was the widow of Henry IV. Little history note here. And nowadays, it's the house of the French Senate, still today. So this place is really nice as well. I mean, every place of my list are actually great because of the habit that I have to find great spots in Paris, and also having done quite a lot of ceremonies, I see what works and what doesn't. But usually we get recommendation of our couples like, oh, we've seen this place and we really like it because they see the pictures. So we go there, we do the ceremony, and they take pictures. We get the pictures, put them online, and then other couples say, oh, this is good. So a natural selection happened, I think. That's why in the end, all the places are really nice. So Medici Fountain is a little fountain near the Luxembourg, in the Luxembourg Garden, and you can have your ceremony there in the morning. Once again, the vibes are amazing. There is a fountain right behind you on your side, and I really like. I don't know why. I really like the water flow. It adds up to a very romantic vibe, and yeah, you can hear it, and you can hear the trees and the birds chirping. Like, I'm not exaggerating, it's truly magic. And every couple who had it over there really loved the vibe. Then we are changing routes and we're going to the Jardin des Plantes, which literally translates to the flowers garden. I used to go there actually when I was a kid, probably a century ago, and I did one ceremony there to date. So it's not a very common place. And it's located in the 5th arrondissement. And it's a place very special because of the colors. You have plenty of different types and species of flowers and trees in this place. This is actually the reasons why it was built. And yeah, the colors are amazing, very different, multicolor. And we had a ceremony there in the summer with a very delicious couple, very nice people who were willing to do something different. I didn't want it to do something very traditional. And the bride, she had this multicolor, flowery dress. It was not what everybody expects for a ceremony or for a wedding. And they decided to go they asked us, actually, they asked their photographer if we could go there. And we said yes, of course, because it's not very difficult to put in place because of the place and the beautiful scenery, and you can walk around, have your photo session right after, and plenty of statues that you can walk around and play with it, play with the poses that you do, etc. It's truly magic. Now we're going to Montmartre and the Sacré-Cœur. So Montmartre, if you never heard about this place, you need to hear about this place. It's located in the 18th arrondissement, so it will be a bit north of Paris. Very famous for its arty vibes. You have Picasso and Modigliani who actually lived there. It's one of the highest located areas in Paris. Montmartre, significates mount, kind of little mountain. If you decide to go there walking, you'd have to take a 222 steps stair. So be careful if you have high heels. On top of Montmartre, you have plenty of small, typical streets full of artists ready to do a portrait of you in less than 5 minutes. Very touristic place, but also very typical. So in this area, you have Basilique, uh, actually called the Sacré-Cœur, which means the Holy Heart. And near the Basilique, there's one more little Persian garden. And this is where you can catch the best views of the Sacré-Cœur. If you're going to the Sacré-Cœur, by the way, just a tip, you need to face the views of Paris right in front of the Sacré-Cœur. It's one of the most breathtaking view that you can have, even for a grumpy Parisian. That would be breathtaking. So I really recommend you to go there and check out the views before or after your ceremony if you decide to choose this spot. So the good thing about this place is you can also wander around Montmartre after the ceremony. You can see iconic places like the Maison Rose or the Mère Catherine, where brasseries and restaurants who are here for a very long time. And yeah, Montmartre in general is a very, very nice area. Now we go to Palais Royal. Uh, it's a former royal palace located in the very heart of Paris in the first arrondissement. It was built by Jacques Le Mercier, the famous architect, for the Cardinal de Richelieu. It's a place that I like to go if it's raining because it's covered and it gives very nice views. It's very near the Louvre as well. So can be useful in case of a rainstorm. Covered area, so you have your photo session in the Louvre right after, and it's beautiful, really beautiful, full of modern and ancient structures and sculptures. Really like it, and one of my favorite as well. Once again, because of the fact that you can walk around before and after. Voila. It's always hard to choose a spot, especially when it is an important day for you. So that's why I always like to send IDs and photos for you to see what it actually is to have your ceremony in each spot. Everyone is different, each has its own details and vibe, but in the end, the choice belongs to you, obviously. And we're always, me and the vendors, we're always trying our best to get the place that you want and make it happen no matter the weather, no matter the day. We're always trying to make your elopement very special. I hope you liked this very short episode. I tried. When I don't have a guest, I like to talk on my own for a long time, so I kind of have to stop myself because I'm passionate about these special vibes and moments that I can share with you guys. So thanks for listening. If you want to plan your elopement ceremony in Paris, you can hit me up and send me a message. I will start to make it happen. See you soon for another episode. Thank you so much for listening to the French Wedding Show. If you want to know more about our guest today, you can go to the show notes and find all the relevant links. Also, have a look at my website, theparisiancelebrant.com, also in the show notes. If you want to start to plan your wedding ceremony or elopement in Paris or anywhere in France. I look forward to hear your ideas. Thank you again so much for listening and see you soon for another episode.